What's up YouTube? My name's Quickie, welcome back to the channel. This is not my happy face, this is my grumpy face. I should be in an MOT station listening to Phil go, oh yeah, you've done that nicely, that's spot on. Here, please, have an MOT. But no, I'm here and I'm pulling the carburetors off again. Oh God, we had a big problem. Big problem. Came in yesterday, sorted all the hangers out. So they're all on the back of the bike, shortened up some bolts and stuck all that on it. The exhaust is all on, the clamp fits around the collector, it's all buttoned down, it's all nice and solid. Happy days there. Had the indicators off Charlie, shoved them on the front, they're all working and flashing as they should do. Thought, I don't know, just because I've been monkeying about with electrics, let's go through and check everything. So I checked all the lights, headlamp's fine, the indicators are fine, the tail light's fine, brake lights are fine, all that is absolutely stonking. And I thought, right, okay, let's just fire it up and make sure we haven't disturbed anything. Hit the starter button, starts turning over, then there's a clunk and it just stopped. Didn't fire up at all. Oh, well, that's not right. So then I hit the starter button again and you could hear the relay was tripping. Starter was trying to go, but the engine weren't turning over. I thought, oh bloody hell, what have I done? And yeah, I was not happy at that point. The air in here did go blue. So I thought, okay, well it's starter, isn't it? Let's start there. So pulled the starter out, that all looks fine. Put some bolts across it, spins up quite happy. So I thought, oh, okay, maybe I've thrown a tooth. You know, like on the starter idle gear or something like that. And maybe that bit of tooth has got jammed between, you know, the sprag gear teeth and all that sort of stuff. And it's just stopping it turning over. Maybe I've shed a tooth. So I had the starter clutch cover off, which is on the left hand side of the bike. Excuse me. Uh-oh. And it all looks fine, absolutely fine. However, as I took the clutch cover off, the starter clutch cover, you're supposed to be able to do it with oil in the engine. And as I started taking the cover off, oil starts peeing out the side of it. But it's not normal oil, it's this. And that's how much came out of it. None that is supposed to come out, but that's what came out of it. And if you look at it, it's very runny. That's because it stinks of petrol. God, it really does stink of petrol as well. That'll clear your sinuses. So I was like, why is petrol in my oil? That's not right. Started poking about and everything else. All the sprag clutch, it all moves properly and everything else. So without the cover on, I thought, okay, well literally just touch the starter button. Don't let it start. But just see if it turns over. And it did. It will turn the engine over quite happily. So I'm scratching, because I've had carbureted bikes for, I don't know, well, 20 years before I got all the super bikes and stuff, and it all went injected, and I've never had this. So put a call out to Spike from Cambridge Motorcycles. He's a gem. And he goes, yeah, they're quite susceptible to this because they've got a prime setting on the tank, and the aftermarket carb kits you get and all that. They don't have the float needle is a steel end to it. Some of them put like a rubber bit on the end, but most of them are just steel, and they're quite heavy as well as far as needles go, and they tend not to sit properly. So what he reckons has happened is, where I've had it on prime, just thinking, well, the floats will rise and the needles will stop any flow into the carbs and we're all good and gold. One of the float needles hasn't seated properly. So what's happened is the fuel is still coming out of the tank, filling up the float bowl. The needle's not sealing it, so more fuel's coming through. It's filling up the carb to the point where it overflows into the cylinder. The fuel is finding its way past the piston rings, down into the sump, contaminating the oil and basically filling the sump up. So he says, have a look in the hourglass, you know, how much oil have you got in there? And it's like, a lot more than I should have. And that's what's happened. I think I've hydraulicked it. And that's what the clunk is, as it sort of relieves the pressure and stuff. Well, as, you know, not as it relieves the pressure, but as the pressure builds, it stops the engine from turning. That's where you get that clunk. And it's quite a clunk too. It sounded expensive. I hope I haven't damaged anything. So anyway, what we got to do then is I've got to drain all the oil. Well, it's not even oil now, it's junk. Got to drain all the oil out the bottom of the engine. And I'm probably going to leave that bung out whilst I'm doing the rest of it, but I've got to have the carbs off. I'm going to set them up on the bench with the fuel tank, and I'm going to have it on prime, fill the buggers up, and see if one of them is just getting full, so full to the point where it's overflowing. I think that's what the trouble is from what he was saying. It makes sense in my head, but I've never had this happen on a bike before. This is a new one to me. There's obviously nothing in the manual about it. But apparently they are susceptible to this. So, been out and got some more oil. Another 30 quid's worth of oil. The stuff that was in there was new. It started the bike like 10 times, hasn't even turned a wheel. And now it's all crap and it's all got to be replaced. How annoying is that? But it should be quite a simple fix. If I can find out which carb is flooding, then I can have it all apart, see what's going on. I am tempted to stick a manual tap in on the fuel tank as well. Because, you know, prime, why bother? Why bother? I'm never going to use it again. I ain't going to be setting it on. The only reason really to do it is if you've completely had everything apart and you just want to fill the bowls up. That's it. Prime. It's in the name. So that's what I'm doing. Instead of being in the MOT station, listening to Phil go, oh yeah, really nice job here, we're having an MOT. And then out hooning. Right, so we've got the carbs off the bike. Basically I've just set them up in the vise, set the soft jaws, given all the vise a bit of a wipe down just so there's no smearing smucks and stuff to get inside them again. Tank is just sitting on top of the box here, and if I set that to prime, fuel just free flows out of it, as you can see. So what we will do, I'm going to hook the fuel line up to it again. Don't you fall off. It is all a little bit precarious. Right, stick that on prime. So now what should be happening is fuel is flowing into the float bowls, filling them up. That's all fine. And we're going to leave it for a bit and see if it overflows anywhere. Right, we dumped all the oil out of it. Now it's time to fill it up again. At least I've got some more chain lube, I suppose. Come on. Right. Pom pom pom. So the carbs have been set up now in the vise for, I don't know, 10 minutes, something like that. I'm not seeing anything come out of them. Which is, well, in one way it's a good thing. Spike was saying, just having the carbs off and moving them about and stuff, if there is anything in, you know, it could cause needles and stuff to seat again. Just moving them. But what I really want to see is the problem, because then I can pull that particular carb apart and try and see for myself what it is that's actually gone wrong, so I can fix it. I don't really hold with this. Oh, it seems to be working now. Stick it back together again. When you haven't actually done anything to fix the damn thing. So I'm just going to leave them set up for half hour. We'll see how we go. I'll open the butterflies in a minute. It might be sealing something behind it, I don't know. But yeah, we're going to just leave them for half an hour. See if we can see anything going on. I'm definitely not using prime anymore though. If there's no vacuum to the back of the fuel tap, then there's no fuel flowing. So, you know, you're sort of cutting the problem off at the source sort of thing. But if there is a sticky float needle, I want to know about it. Right, 3.3 litres. We're nowhere near, are we? No. Right, we're in. We're in. So it's got all new fresh oil in it, and a fresh, fresh oil, and a fresh oil filter. The only reason I did the oil filter as well is because there is a rubber O-ring that sits around it to seal everything up, and I just don't know how they react with petrol basically. So yeah, new oil filter, and I can smell petrol. Ah, problem found. Let me show you. Well, I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see, but this carb here, there is fuel gushing out of it. That's the one that we got the problems with. Right, I'm glad of that. Right, so this is the carb that's at fault, and it is peeing out fuel. Stick them over there. That's all okay. Where's my proddy thing? So what I want to do is have a look at the needle to start off with. Working on a clean bit of cardboard. Come on. I can't see any bits of nastiness on it. Not by a long shot. Pom pom pom. Right, let's get some air in there. The seat actually looks okay as well. I mean, it's all nice and clean in there. There's no debris and nastiness going on. Maybe it's a float height thing. Maybe the float height is off. I don't know, can you see this? That's the little float needle, and it looks okay. Yeah, there is nothing wrong with that at all. Right, so the little plunger's moving, so let's try checking float heights. See if there's any shenanigans going on there. He's in. Come on. There we go. Right. Right, so that's set to 17 mil. The way we do this is we have to have it at an angle so that they just touch down. Let's move you over. Right, so the idea is that this needs to be inclined so it just touches down. So about like that. Let's get something to prop this up with. And like that. And then the height of the float, if memory serves, was 17 mil. And that is spot on. So why were you sticking? Right, so we're just setting all this back up again. All the carbs and that are back together. I've checked. Yeah. Whilst I was in there, I thought, right, I'm having the float bowls off all of them and I'm just checking. I just want to make sure that the float heights is okay. This is the carb that we had troubles with. So it's all had a blowout with air and everything. I just figured if there's a tiny bit of grit or dirt or something in there, get rid of it. We'll set it all back up and have another go. When I took this one apart, the main jet had come out. Literally unscrewed, floating about in the float bowl. No idea why. But that one wasn't even flooding, it was this one. So I've gone round and checked each and every jet. I've tightened it all down. I didn't want to go overboard previously because obviously it's brass. But yeah, it had fallen out. I would have expected that to be the one that was flooding. But never mind. Okay, so we're all set up again. We're going to leave it half hour. And we're going to check it and see if anything comes out of it. So far, nothing. Which is a good thing. Yeah, all looking good. Right. Alright, I think we're in. I'm not seeing any fuel anywhere. It's bone dry. Nothing's coming out. I think we're in. Right. Let's get all this disconnected and get it back on the bike. I think we're in. Nothing's gushing, and I haven't got it on prime. Let's give it a whirl, see if it starts. It's alright. It's got my grubby paw prints over it, and there's a bit of oil that needs to burn off of it as well, but nothing's leaking. Bone dry. All four are warming up. Right then, we're all back together. Lots of cocking about. I didn't think the carbs would have to come off again. Anyway, there was a couple of bits that you missed, so just to fill you in on them. Had all the carbs apart, and basically just cleaned them out again. Essentially like blowing compressed air through them, got the carb cleaner on them, just, you know, trying to get any little bits of schmutz and schmoo and all that kind of stuff out of it. I've had I think it was just a tiny bit of grot that got in there somehow, and I don't know how, because I was like really careful when I was servicing the carbs to keep everything nice and clean, working on cardboard and all that sort of stuff. But I think there was a tiny bit of grime in there, so one of them wasn't seated right, and that's the one that was flooding. So we've got all that sorted, that's all good. Shoved it all back on. I have had it going very briefly, and it wasn't working right. You know, with the new jets, I put 102.5s and 105s in it because the manual said stock it was 98 and 100. So 98 on cylinders 1 and 4, 100 on 2 and 3. And it wasn't running right, it was over fueling it, you could hear it. It was like quite boggy and everything else, and when you open the throttle it wasn't a real crisp sort of pick up of revs or anything, it was bogging out, and then it would start to pick up, but it just wasn't running happy. So I did some goofing about, and I got my phone out, put it on super macro, because what I thought was little dinks and stuff around the very tiny, it was absolutely tiny. Put it on super macro, took a picture, then blew it up, and it was actually writing. So even though it's supposed to be 98 and 100, all four in this bike are 92. So I'm not sure if it's because it's the CVR carb and not the CVK. I don't know. I do need to look into it a little bit more. But it was running quite happy on that before. So they've gone back in again. I'm going to do a bit more research. Really, I want to get it dynoed. That will tell me everything that I need to know. But the dynos are shut. Right, let's give it a go. And what we're checking for is little. Hang on, let's make sure it's not on prime. No, it isn't. I'm not using prime anymore at all. Right. Right, that's it, we're done. We're done. Runs up lovely and stuff. It seems to like the jetting. I don't understand why it's 92 and not 98 and 100 like the manual says. Could be something to do with those carbs because they're CVR carbs, not the CVKs. I don't know, I do need to look into it. But she's running, she's happy, there's no leaks, there's no shenanigans. It sounds really good too. So anyway, all I've checked out the lighting and, you know, I've gone over it from front to back, so I know that everything's nice and nipped up and tight and blah, blah, blah. There are things that still annoy me. I hate the mirrors, they're stupid. I hate the fact that tabs have been bodged off here and it's been zip tied up and it's just nasty. I don't like that, even though I did it. There she's on, she's basically there. All I've got to do is put the seat on it, you know, the bodywork on it, stick the sofa on top of it and give her a wash, and that's it, she's good for MOT. She is booked in for MOT on Monday at 10 o'clock as well. So it's now like coming up, you know, bank holidays and everything else. Everything's shut on Friday. Saturday, Sunday's a bit of a no-go because her indoors has got me doing all sorts of other jobs in the garden and whatnot. Oh joy. So basically I will come in at some point, shove this lot on, have it ready, and we're off to MOT. So I am very, very, very sorry you didn't get to see the MOT thing and we didn't get to go out on a hoon. I was gutted. I was properly gutted. I was mad as hell for quite a bit, but then I was just gutted. But I do like tinkering and sorting stuff out, so I suppose it's, you know, it's not all wasted. But yeah, I so wanted to have a go on this today. I really, really, really did. Actually, I can have a hoon up and down the yard. Do it? No, I can't do that. Not as she looks at the minute. Anyway, get the seat on and I will. But yeah, so I am sorry about that. Nothing I could do. And I've never had that with a set of carbs on a bike before where it just floods and, you know, empties all the fuel into the oil. I've never had it, and I've had quite a few carburetor bikes. Apparently I was chatting with Matt. Apparently it used to happen to the ER5 all the time. Andy reckons it's not that uncommon. Spike reckons that Bandits are quite susceptible to it. I don't know. It's of all the bikes I've had, I've never had it. It's a weird one. So, but at least I know what to look for and how to fix it now and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, that's it for today. Hope you're staying safe. Hope you're enjoying the videos as well. And keep the comments coming because I'm loving all that. And the next one is MOT. And then we're off. Salt Ash Tunnel. I'm going to be going through that like anything. I want to know if it wheelies too. Anyway, thank you very much for joining this. Stay safe. Hope you're enjoying them. And we'll see you next time. Laters!